Every house has a place no one wants to open. A room you promise you will clean one day. A door you avoid, an attic you pretend does not exist. For us, that place was the attic. We never talked about it, never needed anything from it, never felt curious about what was inside, until the night the dragging began. The first time I heard footsteps above our bed, I told myself it was the house settling. The second time, I realized the house was settling around someone. It started small, a soft scraping above our bedroom, like someone pacing with a limp. Rosa blamed rats. I blamed pipes. Our son, Liam, 9 years old, blamed monsters. Every night the sound grew a little bolder, a little closer. Then one night, the dragging stopped. Silence. A silence so complete it felt intentional. And then, right above our bed, like something heavy had dropped, or someone had sat down, Rosa whispered, "We are checking the attic, now." The entrance was one of those pull-down hatches in the hallway ceiling. I pulled the cord. Dust rained down. The wooden ladder unfolded with a groan, like it had not been touched in years. When the attic air hit my face, I stepped back. It was stale, dry, ice cold. I climbed up with a flashlight, expecting cobwebs, old boxes, maybe a mouse nest, but not this. The dust was thick enough to hold the shape of anything, and something had walked through it recently. The attic floor was covered in inches of undisturbed dust, except for a perfectly clear trail of footprints, bare feet, adult-sized. They started right at the hatch, walked carefully across the attic, and ended at the far wall. But there were no prints coming back, just a path leading to the wall and stopping. I swallowed hard. "Rosa, stay downstairs." I followed the prints to the wall. Old boards, nailed beams, no door, no gap, nothing. But the dust on the wall, it was smudged, like hands had pressed against it. We called the police. Officers climbed up, shining brighter flashlights, checking for animals, intruders, anything. One officer knocked on the wall. Hollow. A contractor came the next day with a thermal camera. Behind that wall, a thin, narrow crawl space, too small to stand in, barely wide enough for someone to slide through on their stomach. When they pried the boards open and shined lights inside, it was empty. Almost. On the crawl space floor were more footprints, smaller ones, child-sized, hundreds of overlapping steps, like someone had been shuffling inside that cramped darkness for a very, very long time. That was the moment I realized the noises were not new. They were a routine we had finally interrupted. Police searched for signs of recent living, food wrappers, bedding, clothing. But when they fed a camera deeper into the crawl space, they realized it did not end behind the attic wall. It ran the entire length of the hallway, over Liam's room, and down behind the walls toward the back of the house. Whoever used that passage could have moved above and around us, unseen for years. That night, we did not sleep. We stayed in the living room, every light on. Around 3 a.m., Liam, half asleep on the couch, mumbled something that froze us. The girl was right. Rosa leaned over. "What girl?" Liam blinked slowly, confused. "The girl in my room." She said, "He lives in the walls." My throat went dry. We had never told him about the wall, or the crawl space, or the footprints. The next morning, Rosa went into Liam's room. She called for me, her voice shaking. On his desk was a crayon drawing, a long, skinny rectangle, a stick figure curled inside, lines on each side, walls. Above it, in shaky handwriting, "He lives here." Rosa flipped the page. More drawings. A face with no mouth, hands reaching out of the rectangle, a tall, stretched figure leaning over a small bed. The bed was labeled, "Me." A child's imagination can create monsters, but children do not invent floor plans hidden inside walls. Police searched old records. Finally, they found a case. A little girl went missing from our house 23 years ago, never found. In her last recorded interview with a guidance counselor, shortly before she disappeared, she said, "I did not like going to sleep, because when I do, he crawls out of the walls again." The counselor asked who he was. Her answer, "The man who lives behind the house." Everyone assumed she meant a neighbor. No one checked the walls. We moved out. The house sat empty for months until a new owner remodeled, tearing down walls, opening the attic. They found no body, no bones, nothing alive inside the crawl spaces. But one worker noticed something no one else did. Inside one of the old wall cavities, hundreds of them, finger marks, all clawing in the same direction, trying to get out. He did not say a word. He just packed his tools and left. Sometimes, when the wind is right, neighbors say they hear something from that house's roof. Not animals, not settling wood, just a soft, deliberate sound. A hand dragging slowly across the ceiling. If you heard footsteps above your bed tonight, would you blame the pipes, the wood, the house settling? Or would you wonder, just for a moment, if someone is up there, watching you through the cracks of a wall they never stopped trying to escape?